Interesting how a single dinner invitation can reveal exactly where you stand in your own family. My name is Brandy, and I learned that the hard way the night my parents, siblings, and their spouses decided to celebrate my recent promotion. At least, that's what they told me. What actually happened was something I'll never forget. They told me the table wasn't for me, then stuck me with a $2,200 bill I never agreed to. I didn't realize their little stunt would trigger a chain of events that would flip their comfortable world upside down. I should have known the night would be strange when my mother called me that afternoon, her voice sugary sweet in a way she used only when she wanted something. "Sweetheart," she said, "everyone wants to celebrate your promotion. We booked a table at Le Mont Blanc at 7. We're something nice." Le Mont Blanc was the most expensive restaurant in the entire city. It was the kind of place where they didn't list the prices on the menu because if you have to ask, you can't afford it. The last time I'd been there was during a company-sponsored dinner, and even then, I'd hesitated to order anything beyond water. Still, a part of me felt touched. A promotion wasn't something my family typically cared about. I grew up as the middle child, wedged between my golden boy older brother, Jason, and my parents' favorite accessory, my younger sister, Chloe. I wasn't the troublemaker. I wasn't the baby. I wasn't the one who made them proud with flashy achievements. I was the one who kept things running, from finances to cleaning to emotional support, without ever being thanked. That's probably why the idea of them celebrating me felt foreign but nice. I curled my hair, put on the navy blue dress I saved for special occasions, and arrived 10 minutes early. The outside of Le Mont Blanc glowed in warm gold light, the kind that instantly made you feel underdressed no matter how put together you looked. The hostess gave me a polite smile when I approached. "Reservation for the Carter family?" I asked. She glanced at her tablet and nodded. "Yes, they're already seated." "Right this way." "Already seated." "Without me." The first little sting. I followed her past glass walls, velvet chairs, and chandeliers dripping with crystal. When we reached the table, the sting grew into something sharp. My entire family, Mom, Dad, Jason, his wife, Chloe, and her boyfriend, was crowded around a large round table, with one problem. There were only 7 seats. And all 7 were full. My mother looked up and smiled as if nothing were wrong. "Oh good, you made it." Jason raised his wine glass in a lazy half-toast, smirking. "Finally." I blinked, completely thrown. Is there another chair?" Before the hostess could respond, Chloe laughed, swirling her cocktail. "Oh, Brandy, this table isn't really for you." The hostess froze, clearly unsure what to do. My eyebrows shot up. "Excuse me?" Mom waved a hand as if this were trivial. "We already ordered our entrees. We weren't sure you'd get here on time, so we didn't, plan for your seat." "Plan for my seat?" I repeated slowly, heat creeping up my neck. "You invited me." Jason shrugged, sipping his wine. "Yeah, but you're always busy. We didn't want to hold up the evening." I looked around at the table, my entire family laughing, drinking, eating bread from the basket at the center, and a cold realization settled deep in my stomach. They had invited me to a dinner they didn't actually intend for me to join. The hostess cleared her throat softly. "I can bring another chair." Dad cut her off. No. It's a fire code issue. This table only accommodates 7. That was a lie. I knew it. He knew it. But the hostess was stuck. She gave me an apologetic look, murmured something about checking for another table, and slipped away. I stood there, humiliated, trying to wrap my mind around what was happening. My sister leaned back dramatically. "You can just wait at the bar, Bran. We won't take long." My mother actually nodded. "Yes, order yourself a drink. We'll call you when we're done." I stared at them, truly seeing them, every dismissive smile, every careless shrug, every tiny cruelty over the years culminating in this moment. I wanted to walk out. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. But before I could choose, the hostess returned. "Ms. Carter? We do have a small table available by the railing. It seats 1, but..." "1?" I blinked again. "Just 1?" She nodded. "It's the only available option tonight." My family went silent. Not out of guilt. out of annoyance at the interruption. My father sighed. See? Perfect. Now you won't feel left out. Jason snorted. If anything, you get your own private table. Pretty fancy. They kept talking while I stood there with the realization that I wasn't meant to be included. I was meant to be nearby, close enough to foot the bill, but not close enough to matter. The words slipped out before I could stop them. Why did you even invite me? Mom blinked innocently. Because, sweetheart, it's a family celebration. Chloe giggled. Just not your part of it. That's when I understood. They weren't here to celebrate my promotion. They were here to use it. And I was about to find out exactly how. The small one-person table the hostess guided me to sat along a railing overlooking the lower dining area. While it technically had a nice view, it still felt like I'd been placed in timeout. A table for one in a restaurant built for celebrations and groups screamed isolation. The soft clinking of glasses and joyful chatter around me only made the sting worse. I sat down stiffly, trying to swallow the lump forming in my throat. Why am I letting them do this to me again? A waiter appeared with a polite smile. Would you like to start with something to drink? I glanced back at my family's table. Jason and Chloe were laughing loudly, too loudly, while Mom whispered something to Dad, probably about how dramatic I was being by existing. I turned back to the waiter and gave a small smile. Just water for now. He nodded and walked off. As soon as he was gone, the truth hit me like ice water. They didn't come here to celebrate me. They came here because I had been promoted, and in their minds, that meant I now had money. Money they thought they had a right to. The more I thought about it, the clearer it became. The weirdly sudden enthusiasm, the choice of the most expensive restaurant, the way they told me to dress nice. The 7-person table. They never intended to include me. They intended to use me. I tried to calm down by focusing on the menu, but the prices made me choke. The cheapest entree was $95. The drinks were anywhere from $30 to $75 each. A steak, just a steak, was $160. No way. No way was I paying for myself, let alone anything for them. I ordered the least intimidating meal I could find, a simple roasted chicken dish. It was still over $80, but compared to everything else, it felt like the budget option. As I waited, I watched my family from afar. Jason was tipping back his wine glass dramatically, like he was in a commercial. His wife, Cynthia, snapped photos of her plate as if she were some kind of influencer. Chloe was leaning against her boyfriend's shoulder, looking like she was auditioning for a dating show, giggling at everything he said. My parents sat like royalty at the head of the table, basking in the glow of their perfect family. Without me, of course. I forced myself to eat slowly once my plate arrived. As much as I hated being in this situation, I wouldn't let them ruin my night entirely. I'd worked hard for my promotion. I deserved at least a decent meal. About 40 minutes later, I was nearly finished when something changed. I noticed a waiter approaching my table, a different one than the man who'd been serving me. He carried a small leather bill holder. My eyebrows knitted together. Oh, I didn't ask for the check yet. He nodded politely. Your party asked us to bring it to you. I felt my stomach drop. My party? He gestured subtly behind me. Yes. The Carter Group. The blood drained from my face. No. No way. They didn't. I opened the bill holder with slow, shaking hands. $2,217.84. My vision blurred for a moment. The number looked surreal, almost cartoonishly large. They'd ordered multiple bottles of wine, appetizers, desserts, premium entrees, and somehow expected me to pay for all of it. A hot wave of shock, then anger, then humiliation hit me all at once. I stood up so fast my chair scraped loudly against the floor. My pulse pounded in my ears as I walked toward their table. They saw me coming. My mother offered a bright, unbothered smile. There you are, sweetheart. We were wondering when the check would get to you. I almost laughed at the audacity. The check came, I said through clenched teeth. Why was it sent to me? Jason shrugged like it was obvious. Because you're paying. I stared at him. Why would I be paying? He gestured lazily with his wine glass. We're celebrating your promotion. You make more money now. It's tradition for the one being celebrated to treat the family. That's not a tradition, I shot back. That's something you just made up. Chloe scoffed. Don't be selfish, Brandy. You can afford it. I felt heat rising in my chest. Afford it? This bill is over $2,000. Dad chimed in then, leaning forward with a stern look. Brandy, stop overreacting. It's not like you're poor. I blinked. I'm not poor, but I'm not stupid either. Mom pursed her lips. It's just money. Family is more important. Funny, I said bitterly, considering I wasn't even invited to sit at the family table. That made Mom roll her eyes. Oh, stop being dramatic. We simply didn't know if you'd show up. You called me this afternoon. I shot back. Yeah, Jason added, but you're always working or busy with your boring life. We didn't want to rearrange everything if you flaked. It was like a punch to the chest. They really didn't see me as part of them. Not as an equal. Not as a daughter. Not even as a person worth basic courtesy. Just, useful. When they wanted something. I felt something inside me harden. I'm not paying for this. That made them all freeze. Dad's voice dropped into a warning tone I knew too well. Brandy. Don't start. I'm not paying, I repeated. I ordered a single entree and water. I didn't drink the wine. I wasn't seated with you. I didn't consent to pay. Jason leaned back, scoffing. Then who's gonna pay? Mom and Dad? They're retired. They ordered half the wine, I said flatly. Cynthia spoke for the first time, giving me a tight smile. Brandy, being generous with family is a good quality. You should try it more often. I actually laughed. Generous? You mean exploited? You're being dramatic, Chloe muttered. No, I said, my voice steady now. I'm being honest. Dad slapped his hand against the table, making the silverware jump. You will pay this bill, young lady. Don't embarrass us. That was it. The command. The entitlement. The expectation that I would obey blindly because I always had. I slowly exhaled, steadying myself. Okay, I said quietly. If you want me to pay, then we'll involve the restaurant. Mom scoffed. What is that supposed to mean? I didn't answer her. Instead, I turned and walked directly toward the maitre d' stand. I felt my family's eyes on me, but none of them followed. They probably assumed I was going to hand over my card. Not this time. The maitre d' looked up politely. Is everything all right? Yes and no, I said calmly. I need to speak with the manager. Of course. One moment. A minute later, a man in a crisp suit approached. I'm the manager. How can I help? I took a breath. This was it, the moment everything shifted. My family just tried to force a $2,200 bill onto me, I explained. They told the waiter I would pay for the entire table. I did not authorize anything. I was not seated with them. I ordered one entree and water. That's it. The manager's eyebrows shot up. He turned to look at my family's table. Then back at me. Are you saying they misrepresented the payment arrangement? Yes. He nodded slowly. Thank you for informing us. I'll handle it. And oh, he did. What happened next was better than anything I could have planned. But that belongs in the next section. The manager walked toward my family's table with a calm, controlled expression that instantly made me grateful I had spoken to him. He carried himself with the kind of authority that suggested this wasn't his first time dealing with entitled customers, or messy family drama. I stayed a few steps behind him, watching. My mother noticed him first. She plastered on her company party smile, the one she always used when she wanted to look respectable in front of strangers. Is everything all right? She asked sweetly, as if she hadn't just ambushed her own daughter with a bill worth 2 months' rent. The manager nodded politely but kept his tone professional and cool. I've been informed that there may be a misunderstanding regarding payment. Jason groaned loudly. Ah, come on. She told you she won't pay, didn't she? She's being ridiculous. The manager turned to him sharply. Sir, I'm speaking. Jason's jaw snapped shut. I swear I almost applauded. The manager continued. I need to clarify, who initially requested that the bill be given to Miss Carter? My father lifted his chin. We told the waiter she was paying. And did Miss Carter agree to that arrangement? Dad scoffed. She's our daughter. She doesn't need to agree. She's being celebrated. The manager blinked, stunned. Sir, that is not how restaurant billing works. Mom jumped in, her voice dripping with practiced charm. There's no need to make this complicated. Brandy just got a promotion. She can handle this. The manager's expression hardened. Her finances are none of your business. What is my business is that she ordered one entree and water. You ordered the rest. Therefore, you are responsible for your own charges. My father's face darkened. We are not paying nearly $2,300. The manager clasped his hands behind his back. You absolutely are. The table erupted. Jason threw his napkin down. This is ridiculous. She's paying. That's why we're here. Chloe hissed, Brandy, seriously, stop embarrassing us. My mother shook her head like she was scolding a toddler throwing a tantrum in public. Brandy, just pay it. We'll make it up to you later. I tilted my head. Really? When exactly? Before or after the $400 you still owe me from last year? Mom's eyes widened in offense. Why would you bring that up? Because, I said evenly, you're acting like you're reliable people who pay others back. The manager cleared his throat. This is not a matter for negotiation. Legally, the person who orders the items is responsible for paying for them. Dad rumbled with anger. You can't force us. The manager didn't blink. If a bill is not paid, we involve the authorities. And considering the order is extensive, including alcohol, you may be charged with attempting to leave without paying. Jason went pale. Wait, like, arrested? Correct, the manager said. Chloe's boyfriend finally spoke. Dude, I am not getting arrested because of your family drama. He pulled out his wallet, shaking his head like he'd suddenly regretted dating into this chaos. Chloe shot him dagger eyes. My mother tried a new tactic. Manipulation mode level 10. Brandy, she said softly, if you love us, you'll do this for your family. Don't make this ugly. I stared at her, feeling something inside me go silent and still. This was the moment. The moment I finally stopped trying to earn the love they were never going to give. I breathed out slowly. No. Mom blinked. What did you say? No, I repeated. I'm not paying for people who didn't even save me a seat. I'm not financing a dinner I wasn't invited to. And I'm done being used. Dad pointed at me. You listen here. No, I cut him off, surprising even myself with how steady my voice was. You listen. I'm 30 years old, not your wallet. You don't get to humiliate me and expect me to fund it. Jason scoffed. So what, you think we're made of money? That's not my problem. Chloe crossed her arms. You're unbelievable. After everything Mom and Dad have done for you. I laughed, a cold, tired sound. Done for me? They didn't even do the bare minimum tonight. The manager stepped in, clearly done with the nonsense. Enough. Here's what's going to happen. We will split the bill based on who ordered what. If you refuse to pay your portions, I will call the police. He nodded at the nearest waiter. Please bring a detailed breakdown of the charges. My father exploded. This is outrageous. The manager's tone sharpened. What is outrageous is attempting to force another adult to pay your bill. The table fell into an angry, embarrassed silence. A few nearby diners had begun watching the scene unfold. The humiliation on my family's faces deepened, because nothing mattered more to them than appearances. The waiter returned with the itemized list. And that's when the funniest thing happened. My family, these people who claimed they didn't have money, had ordered like billionaires. 2 bottles of $450 wine. 1 $300 bourbon tasting flight. For steak entrees at $160 each. Imported seafood platter, $185. 3 specialty cocktails. 4 desserts. Extra sides. The total made the manager raise an eyebrow. Quite the celebration. Jason tried to shove the paper away. Whatever. Just make her pay. But the manager had heard enough. He pulled out his phone. I'm calling the police. Suddenly, every member of my family scrambled. No, wait, hold on. Let's talk about this. There's no need for that. Oh my God, this is humiliating. Dad glared at me like this was somehow my fault, but he still pulled out his card. Mom pouted dramatically while digging into her purse. Jason slapped his debit card down like it had personally offended him. Chloe dragged her boyfriend into paying more than half because I forgot my card. Cynthia kept muttering about how this is so stupid. In the end, they paid. All of them. Every last entitled one. When they were finished, the manager thanked me quietly for being respectful and composed. My family stood in stiff, humiliated silence as the restaurant staff cleared their table. Then Mom spoke, her voice icy. I hope you're happy, she snapped. I lifted my chin. For the first time in a long time? Yeah. I am. Dad shook his head. Don't expect us to invite you to anything again. I smiled. Good. I prefer dinners where I'm actually wanted. Jason muttered something about me being a selfish, ungrateful brat. Chloe hissed, you ruined tonight. I shrugged. You planned a celebration for my promotion, excluded me, then tried to stick me with the bill. I didn't ruin anything, you did. They left without another word. As I watched them walk out of the restaurant in furious silence, something in my chest lightened, like I'd just dropped a backpack full of bricks I didn't realize I'd been carrying for years. The waiter approached me. You handled that beautifully. I smiled. Thank you. He hesitated. Would you like dessert? On the house? I laughed softly. Yes. Yes, I absolutely would. I sat at my tiny table for one, eating a perfectly crafted chocolate soufflé, feeling freer than I'd felt in years. That night didn't break me. It woke me up. Walking out of that restaurant, I finally understood something I'd ignored for far too long. Family isn't who shares your blood, it's who respects your boundaries. My parents, Jason, and Chloe didn't lose a wallet that night. They lost access. Access to my time, my energy, and my willingness to tolerate their entitlement. I didn't block them out of spite, I blocked them to protect my peace. And as I left with my dignity intact, one truth settled in my chest: sometimes revenge is simply walking away stronger.